You're listening to an Anderson Entertainment production.
This episode,
it's going to be a shootout in Fab Facts.
We're on a mission to Malta in the Randomiser.
and we're behind the mic with voice actor Gerry Martin.
I got confused there with all those first names. That's all coming up in Pod 174
of the Gerry Anderson podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get started. Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
The Gerry Anderson Podcast with Jamie Anderson and Richard James.
Pod
174 of the Gerry Anderson Podcast.
Not again. Will you stop it?
Oh, sorry, I couldn't help myself.
You're just showing off, aren't you?
I'm not showing off, I just love that electrolarynx.
Do you use that around the house?
No, I've been told off for that.
That's great.
It is a bit weird, but see, I used to do it with an electric toothbrush, just like while I was brushing my teeth, and I'd do either the Robert the Robot lines or the Tomb of the Cybermen lines.
Obviously, yeah, that's right.
And now I can do it with a proper one. Anyway, my name is Jamie Anderson.
Oh, yes,
and joining me here is you.
Go on. No, go on. You can remember.
His name is Richard James.
That's
and
it.
he is an actor and writer of some note.
Of some note, yes.
I'm putting the emphasis on some, as in a good way.
Anyway, not very much.
Richard is the lovely co-host of the Gerry Anderson podcast. I'm also a co-host.
No, you're the lovely co-host.
Yeah, well, I'm all right. And over there is Chris Dale. Now, today, Chris, I think he's got a bit of sunburn going on there.
He has. It looks quite painful, doesn't it?
I thought, Chris, that we'd agreed that nobody was going on holiday at the moment, but it seems
he hasn't been away.
Yeah, he's been somewhere special. I don't know where, but yes, he's clearly.
Well, that explains the the rubber ring he's got around. I think he's been he's been floating in a pool somewhere.
Albufeira, probably. That's it. I think he's got that sort of tan. Anyway, he's covered by empty bottles of After Sun. He's clearly had a whale of a time. Also, an empty margarita glass next to him. So I think he's still got the holiday vibes. But once Chris has recovered from his terrible sunburn and got over his margarita, then I suspect he'll probably be bringing us the Gerry Anderson Randomiser later on, where he randomly watches a random episode of a random Gerry Anderson show and gives us his very salient and funny thoughts and comments.
That's true. He will. Almost certain.
Before that, there's loads of other stuff. Richard James will now talk you through it in a rapid style.
Well, it is the Gerry Anderson podcast, so you can imagine that we might have lots of things about Gerry Anderson coming up in the podcast, and indeed we do. We have Fab Facts in a moment, which is where Jamie presents me with a Fab Fact and I comment upon it. We've then got news, which is news from the Gerry Anderson universe, because as we know, there's always something new happening. We've got part 2 of Jamie's interview with voice actor and actor extraordinaire Gerry Martin. We're hearing from our podstrons in a slightly different way today as well. Very often I ask them to ask Jamie. This week I told them, is there anything you want me to tell Jamie?
Oh, okay.
So we'll be hearing that a little later. Oh, so there we are. Was that rapid enough?
That was super rapid. Thank you very much. It didn't even give me time to answer my WhatsApp message. So.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry to distract you from your everyday duties.
No, it's fine. I'm back. I'm back now. I've got a book of Fab Facts, which means it's probably time that we go straight into this week's Fab Facts.
Yeah, probably.
Now, time for this week's Fab Facts.
Stand by for Fab Facts.
I didn't think you were going to do that this week.
No, I changed it.
I had my volume turned right up as well.
Yes, I am terribly sorry if I've caused anyone any auditory discomfort in last week's podcast.
Yes. Well, more than usual.
If you've been affected by anything within last week's podcast, please do email us podcast@gerryanderson.com and we'll delete it. Anyway, this is Fab Facts. So I've got a book of Fab Facts. That's me slapping the book of Fab Facts.
Oh. What a weighty tome.
It is quite weighty, yes. I flick through it. Richard shouts Fab at a random point, which stops me flicking the pages. And upon said page where I've stopped flicking, there will hopefully be a Fab Fact. Richard James.
Yeah.
Are you prepared to Fab?
I am prepared to
Standing by to flick. Here we go.
Fab! What?
Interesting.
Yes?
Well, you may have heard the pages got slightly stuck there under my thumb.
I did hear that, yes.
That has left
Sticky thumb
us
syndrome.
in. Yes, I do have terrible STS. That means we're in the fairly early days of supermarionation.
Right, I see.
In fact, in the region of Four Feather Falls to Supercar.
Oh, that is early.
So,
Yeah.
during the course of both series, the show's characters often found themselves in gunfights and shootouts and so on. Not so much Mike Mercury, although he had his moments. But notably, Tex Tucker's magic guns were often used to save the day in Four Feather Falls, as I'm sure you recall. In order to create the effect of the guns firing, the puppeteers would jerk the puppet's arm back as they fired their gun.
Yeah.
But instead of there being a real explosive charge planted in the gun, the flash of the shot would later be painted onto the film negative.
Right.
This was done with black paint, which would of course show up as white on the positive, and the painting was very often done by John Reed.
Okay.
Also, the effect of lightning would be done in the same way.
Oh, yes, I see.
As time went on, however, the team started to experiment with how they achieved the effect of gunfire. So, from the second season of Supercar onwards, you'll start to see real explosive flashes at the ends of the guns.
Right.
And moving into XL5, you start to see some very large flashes of flame from Steve Zodiac's ray gun.
Cool.
Very cool. This effect would be achieved by putting a charge in the prop gun and running a wire from the gun up the puppet sleeve, back down the costume, and all the way out the bottom of their trousers to an off-screen battery. You connect the wire to the battery, and bang! There is your gunshot.
Nice.
Now, after Fireball XL5, the gunfire effect starts to get a little more inconsistent. Possibly because some of the gunfire effects seen in XL5 really do look quite dangerous.
Right.
Going into Stingray, the gunfire effect almost seems to be down to whatever the director felt like doing on the day. For instance, we see a shootout in the episode Hostages of the Deep, in which not a single puppet-scale gun is actually shown to fire, just sound effects and puppets jerking as they fire shots.
Okay, yeah.
Yet in the master plan, Troy and Phones have a huge shootout with the Aquamphibians in Titan's throne room, with guns being shown to fire real charges all over the place. Then, in Thunderbirds, it's a similar thing once again. The Tracy boys have their blue and red pistols. Penelope and Parker have guns, so there's quite a few shootouts throughout the series using real explosive charges. But then, in The Perils of Penelope and Operation Crash Dive, we see the guns just light up when they're fired rather than use actual charges.
Okay.
From Captain Scarlet onwards, however, it was pretty much standardised. Charges almost all the way through in conventional pistols and machine guns, although some notable exceptions are the Spectrum spacesuit pistol in Crater 101, or Joe 90's Proton Lance in The Professional, both of which have a light which lights up when they're fired.
Yes, I see.
But when you see Scarlet or Joe firing their pistols with real explosive charges in their guns, just remember that it started all the way back in Four Feather Falls with John Reed and some black paint.
God, that's interesting. I mean, there's the history of television effects, really, in
Yes.
one fab fact. Yeah. The evolution.
Yeah, it
That's
is. It is
incredible.
quite the evolution, isn't it? Miniaturizing
Yes.
things,
That's right.
going bigger, better, thinking how
Yeah,
can we do
yeah.
this in camera? Yeah, it's really quite
Also,
amazing.
how can how do we save a bit of money? Which I'm sure was the intent behind not showing any of the charges in that one particular episode. Let's
Yes.
have the shots fired off screen and just see their arms jerking. That'll
Yeah,
save a bit.
that'll
And also
do.
save a bit of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true, and saves any potential
Interesting.
accidents too. I mean, I was
Yes.
watching recently Supercar Pirate Plunder, I think is the name of the episode. I may have got that wrong. And on the pirate ship, the guy's firing a big anti-aircraft type gun at Supercar. And
Yeah.
all those frames clearly have been painted on to the negative with black paint. But it's still,
I
in the
see,
moment,
yes,
it's quite
yes.
convincing. It's surprisingly so.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
as we all know, an actual pyrotechnic on screen is the coolest thing to see.
It really is. Yeah, it really is. And it's particularly cool when you're lucky enough to have been handed a pyrotechnic to use on screen, as I was as Orin. That's fantastic. When they take the prop gun from you and say, "All right, Richard, here's your working gun. So live gun on set, everyone." That's a bit of a thrill. Yeah, and you can feel that kick as you shoot it as well. But the interesting thing is when you're being shot and you have to, they put squibs, what they call squibs, little charges beneath your costume, which kind of blow out through the fabric.
Yeah.
Yeah, exciting stuff.
Painful?
Not painful, no. You certainly feel it.
Just a little like someone flicking you hard in the chest. Does that sort of feel?
That's what it is, yeah, which is obviously something I'm very used to.
Yeah.
Oi, flick, flick, flick. Oi, Richard, flick, flick. Richard, flick, flick, flick.
Yeah. That's why they call me Mr.
That's
Squib.
Good. I like that.
Right. Well, there you go. A fascinating fab fact this week, all about gunfire and black paint. What's not to like?
Yeah. Exactly.
I think that brings us to the end of this week's Bang
Fact! Nice.
What a pair
Good
of
bit of synchronisation.
Lovely.
That's lovely. Right, okay. I think we've been called worse, to be honest.
True.
There we are. Now, you are listening to the Gerry Anderson podcast. Please subscribe to us wherever you're listening to us. Like or follow or whatever you do on your application of choice. You can also leave a nice review if you're of a mind, and share us with your friends so they can listen too. And also, get in touch. podcast@gerryanderson.com. Now, a little later on, we're heading over to our Facebook group where I asked our lovely podstrons, usually I ask them to, is there anything you want me to ask Jamie? This week I said, okay, let's not ask him. Is there anything you want me to tell Jamie? So we might come to a few of those in just a moment. But in the meantime, here are some emails. This, for example, from Peter Dernan, who says, so for me, this was a gaping open goal. Brian Blessed, involved in Thunderbirds somehow, possibly as the Hood, tempts international rescue into an underwater rescue and targets Thunderbird 4 to destroy it. The pilot survives, and he gets to say the line, Gordon's alive!
Oh, not another one of these.
Yeah, I know. He says, sorry, keep on keeping on. Best regards, Peter Dernan. I mean, this is one that's going to run and run, I think, isn't it?
I fear it may.
Paul Hyde says, hi, everybody. Hope everybody's well. Yeah, I'm all right.
You're doing pretty good, thanks. Yeah, lovely.
Okay. I have a request, says Paul. Is there any chance that you, Jamie, can save Thunderbird 4? The one that was used to promote the upcoming series of Thunderbirds Are Go is being towed along the River Thames at the moment, and it's sitting outside a factory in Plumstead, but maybe put on display on the 16th of April, depending on what's happening. It would be great if you can save Thunderbird 4, as it's not looking that clever at the moment. Yours, hopefully, Paul Hyde. Oh, I don't know about that. I should have to look into it. So,
yeah. So the
Thunderbird 4 in peril.
Yeah, it was the one produced by ITV for the Thunderbirds Are Go launch promotion. So it's not obviously owned by us, and I suspect whoever put it together is not willing to let go of it, otherwise it wouldn't be sat there. So I fear it may be doomed to rot, which is rather sad.
I see. Caleb Ricardo says, hi, I had a thought after listening to the Gerry Anderson news on your most recent podcast. What if you put the Gerry Anderson news into an online newspaper, which was formatted like a normal newspaper, but instead was full of all that news that you put into the podcast? Just an idea from Caleb.
It's a good idea. But that also sounds like it might take quite a lot of time for somebody to do.
Right, right.
But we are doing something interesting around that, and some of you may by now have seen it, but I can't see any more because it's only a little trial run of something.
Okay.
That sounds a bit vague, doesn't it?
It does.
It's very
That's
vague.
how we like it. Yeah. Jen Whitby says, hi, Richard, Jamie and Chris. In honour of Thunderbirds Day 2021, I thought I would share my odd year. It seems every 3 months or so I discover something Thunderbirds or Anderson related. For instance, during the first quarter of the year, I was watching an anime, Detective Conan, if anyone's interested, and had to pause and rewind part of episode 931. Phew, that's a lot of episodes. She says, in this episode, the protagonists were travelling to a group of islands to solve a murder, as they do, but looking out from their ferry, they saw one rather familiar-looking island. And she attached some screenshots so that we could see what she means. And yes, it does look rather familiar, Jen. She then says, then sometime between May and August, I was listening to the BBC's Sherlock Holmes audiobooks, and in the very first book, A Study in Scarlet, I began to recognise some of the cast. After a little research, I discovered that the Americans in the audiobook are voiced none other than by Shane Rimmer, Matt Zimmerman, and Ed Bishop.
Yes.
Hey. Yes, she says, I know Ed Bishop wasn't in Thunderbirds, but there are probably other Anderson alumni hidden in the credits for the rest of the audiobooks, but I just haven't realised. Maybe Chris could have a little hunt through to find them all. And finally, she says, earlier this month, while watching a Barry Lewis video on FaceTube, He's a cooking guy, apparently, who started with no knowledge to be self-taught on how to cook soft-boiled egg tempura, and it was one of his early videos, and he used his phone's MP3 as the egg timer. Anyway, he didn't stop the music once the egg was done, and the next song to come on was one he didn't recognise, but was very clearly one of those 90s Thunderbirds remixes. Happy Thunderbirds Day, Podstrons, and it'll be interesting, says Jen, to hear if anyone else discovered something Thunderbirds where they least expected it. Keep up the good work, chaps, and looking forward to Pod 200. And that's from Jen.
Not long. Thanks, Jen.
Ooh, there we are. Yeah, do let us know if, let's say if Thunderbirds has popped up in an unexpected place while you've been going about your day, particularly in the light of the recent Thunderbirds Day a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And finally then, well, here's a couple of Tell Jamies from our Facebook group, just to get things underway. Neil Holloway, for example, says, tell Jamie he needs to binge watch Joe 90.
I knew these could potentially be unkind, but I didn't think they go that far.
Miles Parrish says, please tell Jamie he has a nice voice.
Oh, well, that's lovely, isn't it? Thank you very much.
Yeah. Brackets, and so do you, Richard. So, yeah,
we know Richard James does.
Yeah, James Pilsonwood, finally for now, says the customer service at the Anderson store is second to none. I would rate their service higher than any other business I've ordered items from.
Wow.
Louise, Tim, and all the background staff who package the items are just brill.
Go team. Well, we passed that on.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Tim,
Isn't that
Louise,
lovely?
and everyone else involved. You do
Yeah.
you do sterling work.
Absolutely, they do, yeah. So we'll have a few more Tell Jamies a little later on.
Okay, I look forward to it and am terrified by them too.
Yeah, quite.
Shall we enter the world of Gerry Anderson news for some Gerry Anderson news?
Let's do that.
Then here it comes. Yes, it's some Gerry Anderson news. Oh, that was nice. I couldn't. Oh, you're so clever and vocally talented, aren't you?
How's that?
Goodness me, that's amazing. Yes, excellent. Well, we've got some Gerry Anderson news as always.
Good.
Let's begin here. So let's start with the stuff that I've been waiting for ages, which is the concert is on sale.
Oh, yes.
Stand by for action. I'll try and do it a bit more quietly this week. Gerry Anderson in concert is coming next year to the Birmingham Symphony Hall. Tickets are now on public sale if you manage to grab one during the pre-sale. Excellent. That's marvellous news. If you've already got one, then great. I have a feeling these are going to sell out well before the actual date, so please don't hesitate if at all possible. Try and organise a big group. We'd love to see some Podstrons there. I believe a few of you have already bought your tickets. So a Podders Arms reunion and photo call surely is a must. We can't wait to see you there. It's going to be all of the show themes from all the major shows across Dad's entire career, conducted by the brilliant Richard Harvey, an Anderson alumnus himself. There are some great treats to be announced along the way. There's some stuff we just can't tell you yet, which is really exciting. But it's not just going to be a load of themes.
Oh,
there's a lot more to it. Hosts, maybe some cool appearances.
Very exciting.
Lots of stuff on the way. So stand by for action. Do you get it?
Yeah.
Anyway, if you're listening to this very early in the morning on the day of release, then you're in for a little secret, a little treat here. So let me come in close. Don't tell anyone. Well, not until 9 o'clock anyway. But we're making a documentary about Dad.
Oh.
What? Yes. We've been commissioned by BritBox to create a documentary that tells the story of the life and career of Gerry Anderson, which is really exciting. Now, you may be thinking, but there have been lots of documentaries before. Yes, there have, about Super Mario Nation, specifically, and the teams that made it, about Dad in a kind of pop culture way and about his career. But this is the first time it's going to be an in-depth look at his personal life and its effect on his career and the shows. And goodness me, it's been a hell of a journey so far. We've been in production on this for about 4 months, and the stuff I've learned is absolutely amazing. Yeah, you're going to be blown away, I think, by the story. And it's his story in his own words. We're using deep fake technology to bring him to life, using original audio archive clips, creating the kind of visuals to match, and it's going to be absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
That will be released in the UK on BritBox on the 14th of April next year. That's Gerry Anderson Day. So that's very exciting. More on that very soon. I'm sure we'll be putting together a trailer in due course. If you're outside the UK and you want to see it, then may I suggest that if you're in the US, North America, you email Shout Factory and tell them that you want to see it. I'm sure they will happily play ball. I'm hoping it'll be available on their channels next year. But yes, we'll bring you news of other places it's been sold to around the world in due course. But it's very, very exciting.
Nice.
Gerry Anderson, A Life Uncharted is the title of the documentary, and you're going to learn some new stuff. And it'll be quite the emotional roller coaster for the viewer. It certainly has been for me as a producer and a participant in it as well. So more on that very soon. On to something slightly lighter, and in fact, red in this case. It's a Captain Scarlet single from Silver Screen. It's the Captain Scarlet song, obviously. What else could it be? On red vinyl, limited edition of 1,000. It's available to pre-order now for delivery early next month. And just a reminder on Christmas jumpers, Space 1999 and Thunderbirds Christmas jumpers are available. I know it's a long way from Christmas right now, but it's going to creep up on us pretty fast, and I know they're going to sell. So if you want to grab yourself a Space 1999 or Thunderbirds Christmas jumper, just pop along to the store, shop.gerryanderson.com, and you'll find it there. In fact, I just took delivery of my Space 1999 jumper this morning, and it's rather marvellous. There's lots of other stuff going on in the world of Gerry Anderson, but I think really, for now, a 2022 concert and a documentary, that'll keep us going, I hope. Lots more stuff going on in the background, which we'll be able to tell you about very soon. But for now, that's the end of this week's Gerry Anderson News.
That was the news. That was the news.
You and your ad-libbing.
I know, I was going for a little bit of sort of Gregorian chant there, but it didn't quite work, did it?
I think it was
It's heading that way, wasn't it?
Neo-Gregorian. I can't even say it. Neo-Gregorian.
Right, fair enough.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
good.
Yeah. So that's some news. What else have you got?
It is. Well, let's head on back over to our Facebook group, shall we? That's facebook.com/groups/Podstrons, where this week I asked our lovely Podstron listeners, is there anything you want me to tell Jamie? Luna posted, could you tell him that Lord Awesome has sadly passed away? Now, Awesome was the Podstron's animal mascot, so that's sad news indeed. Gary Hodgkinson says, it's great to be on board an Avro Shackleton when they run all 4 Griffons. That's what he wanted me to tell you.
Oh,
it's exciting, isn't it?
okay.
I guess he's talking engines there, isn't he?
Oh, okay. I'm not
playing
playing
engines. Yuhan Huth says, tell Jamie he needs to play the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV that has a free trial up to level 60, including the Heavenswood expansion.
Gosh.
All right.
Well, thanks for the
There you
tip.
go.
I just don't have any time to do anything currently.
No, it's a shame. Simon
Maybe
Allen
later.
says, could you please tell Jamie we appreciate the effort he puts in extending his father's legacy.
Oh, thanks, Simon.
Nice.
That's very
And Ian
nice.
Clark says, tell Jamie that eagle behind you needs a bit of a dust. I'd noticed that.
Yeah, I do. I'm well known for my dusty eagle. So, sorry about that.
Tom Hodden says, please tell Jamie that the Podstrons are a lovely bunch of folks.
Oh, we already know that. We say that every week, don't we?
Yeah, that's right. He says if you want to freak him out, tell him there's a strange old woman standing silently in the corner of his Zoom window, staring at him menacingly.
That's just Zelda.
That's Nick Briggs, isn't it? Yeah.
we went down a
Zelda.
very similar route then. Certainly very similar age.
That's right. Clive Lewis says, tell Jamie his dad was a legend and we need a Captain Scarlet cosplay outfit to be available, please, or a Captain Scarlet uniform T-shirt.
Both very much on the radar of the team. So
Yes,
stand
all right.
by. Oh, no, I'm not going to say that, am I?
No, don't do that again.
Spectrum could be green.
Okay, that's better. And Simpsons Clips 24 for now says, please tell Jamie that he should ask Network Distributing to release a Lavender Castle soundtrack CD.
I can ask that, but
Yes.
I fear, because they can't do the series itself, because that's DreamWorks, that without
yes.
one, you can't really do the other for commercial purposes, unfortunately.
True enough. Yeah.
Sorry to say
and,
that.
There we are. Finally, Peter Littman, who we know and love, says, please can you tell Jamie that as from Friday 24th, when I moved into my new flat, whilst the electrics boiler and unpacking all needed sorting, usual teething problems, all my Gerry Anderson toys and models are up on shelves, making the flat already feel like home. It's all a question of priorities, really.
A question of priorities, eh?
You see what he did there? Hey!
very
Well done, Peter, and good luck in your new home. That's
Yes.
great. All for now, but there'll be some more Tell Jamies a little later on. I quite like this.
It just does feel like I'm being admonished
You're
when
being-
you say that.
Being put in your place. Yeah, that's right.
Tell him what
That
for.
told you.
Sorry. Well, thank you very much. If you'd like to send in a Tell Richard, then please do email us podcast@gerryanderson.com. Richard, would you like some interview footage material, audio from Gary Martin?
Yes, please. Yes,
Well,
let's hear what he has to say.
That's lucky because Slow-Mo is back. It's Gary Martin, and he's back for part 2 of 3 of our lovely chat about all things Anderson and all things Gary Martin. So here's
Great.
Gary Martin. So you've already mentioned, Gary, that you kind of, even in childhood, were off to acting school and, training to be a thespian.
Yes, yeah.
So what? Just kind of give me a kind of Gary Martin comic book origins to actor story. Give me a 5-minute review of how you got to where you are.
Well, I did want to be an actor. I was born Gary Grant. And I changed it to Martin because when you join Equity, 2 actors can't have the same name. It was difficult because we didn't have computers and stuff like that. So 2 actors could be booked for the same job or the wrong actor. Yeah. So I had to change it. And I also remember being at school in the early days and sitting next to a boy called John Wayne. And the teachers found it extremely funny, not that we understood it at all at the age of about 5 or 6. When I was 16, my parents said, get a proper job. No more of this acting stuff. So I became a trainee interior designer. And then an audition came up to sing on a cruise ship. Cabaret. I had been singing. I was taking singing lessons with a famous 60s singer called Eve Boswell. Not everybody will remember. You have to look her up. But she was South African, had a big hit with a thing called Picking a Chicken. But some of you out there will know who she is. She was a very good singer. She was teaching me. And I decided to take this job and sing on the cruise ship. I had about 2 weeks to get an act together. I didn't have the faintest idea. My parents said if I did it, I might as well just give up and just, that was the wrong thing to do. But I wanted to do it. I spoke to Eve. We put an act together. I lied to get on the ship, said I was 18 instead of 17, which wasn't a good thing.
Naughty.
Because, I thought it was only a white lie, but I have to have things signed to say that I was under a certain age to go. I got on the ship and I would listen to other acts. I would put an act together. If a good act got on in Australia, I would try and pinch parts of his act because that was what you did. Came back from Australia, New Zealand, Tahiti, Nufaloka, Rarotonga, all these beautiful places. I thought, no, I've got the bug for this. I've got to carry on. So I auditioned for a rock musical, mid-70s. This would be about 76, yes, called Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yes.
Possibly at the time, probably the biggest rock musical, and I think it even surpassed Hair at the time. Loved it. Then I just went on to one show to another. I played Rocky in the original Rocky Horror Show. Not the original production, but in the original run of it. Yeah. I went on to things like Little Shop of Horrors, where I played the voice of the plant, and which was before the film came out. And I did a 2-year run of that. And because it was a big black kind of Harlem guy who played it, you didn't have nothing to make me feed me. You what you say, like shit. And it was this all the way through. And so Cameron gave me the part, which was lovely. I did it for 2 years, but I used to come out at the end. I used to sing at the back of the stage. Microphone, and I would watch on a little monitor and see through this gauze the guy in the plant. So I'd have to work my voice with this mouth movement. And it was brilliant. It was fabulous. But I'd come out for a bow at the end, and it would just say "Feed me" on my T-shirt. Nobody would know who I was. Aww. So I came out with a microphone and "Feed me" on my chest. Still nobody knew who I was. So I had to have this T-shirt made up with The Voice, because they were expecting a guy of, 6'7" and weighing about 35 stone or something. But I had a fabulous time doing that, and just went on to lots of shows. I think trailers, and yes, that's what I went into doing voiceover probably about 40 years ago. And that kind of took over after I did a musical called Grease. I decided after 13 West End shows, maybe that I'd had enough of it. It lost its spark. But voiceover has never lost its spark. I've always enjoyed it.
Not. You're still doing it.
Well, yeah. I don't know how, but you do it. It's a job where you can create and be somebody different whenever you want to be it. And it's always new, even though it can be the same thing. I could never have worked in an office. I just didn't have the right temperament. I sit opposite somebody maybe who you didn't particularly like or didn't particularly like you, and you're there for years and years. I don't know. It just wasn't for me. So thank goodness.
I'm totally with you there. Totally with you. Because if you end up working with somebody you don't like now, you'll be in the booth for a day or two, and then you'd have to see them again for a while.
That's it. And the way we are now, we don't work with anybody in the booths, and even if
we're isolated.
we do. And if we do go in the studio, if I'm doing sometimes, most of the time, we work on our own.
Yeah.
Even with animation, sometimes now you do your character, and everything is spun in.
Yeah. Yes, it's a very different existence, isn't it? I didn't realise that you'd been so musically inclined for so long before the voiceover stuff. So that's really interesting. I'm looking forward to you blasting out a chorus of Aquamarina at the end of this podcast, Gary. So how then did you get introduced to Dad and get involved with Space Police? Because I'm fairly certain that Space Police was your first.
I think
working
so.
role with
I'm
Anderson,
pretty
right?
certain. I think we were introduced. I went and auditioned for him. I'm trying to remember. I think I saw him first of all at Bray Studios.
Yeah, that's where we've been doing most of the stuff.
And we had a chat there. We talked about the character, how he wanted it. It was very much in that kind of a nasty honey monster style, really.
Yes, it's
You
really
were like
kind of.
this. We will kill you. Yes, like and
I think he talked on an inward inflection as well.
That's his spot on.
It was like that. But I think I did something like what did I do? You know, when you play, when you can do inward talking as well as exhaling, and it just sped up the talking. So
you would say something like this, and then you would talk on the in way, like that. So
it would sound quite evil, difficult to do.
Right, like this, yes.
And who else? And there was another, I think Kerry Shale played a character opposite my VLAN character.
Was that Evile?
Evile, those names. And your dad liked it. He said, stick with that voice. And that was the process. When I went along to audition for Space Precinct, I went along to Pinewood.
Yep.
Which is not far from where I live now. And I popped down, went to his office, and we discussed the character. And I kind of based it. Do you know the voice I based it on? Do you remember?
Was this for slow-mo?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
I was told he wanted that kind of he wanted to, be cast against character. So I was thinking kind of Brooks, Harlem, kind of Brooklyn, kind of New York kind of thing. And then I thought, should we try kind of a Dustin Hoffman? So
don't you dare! You're right. You take one bite of that chocolate chip and you are in big trouble. Don't you dare! So I played him like that. No, so that was the kind of. I thought it would work well. I thought having that voice quoting Shakespeare would be silly. And your dad saw the funny side of it. So we did that. I did dub a few of the characters in there, much I think to the disgust of a couple of actors.
Well, that was a very sore point for a lot of them, the dubbing.
Totally agree. Because if you'd have been in the suit and you've been playing one of the characters, and you mentioned some of the characters earlier, and suddenly you got to watch it on television, and you've not only had to wear this mask that somebody's dubbed you as well, and you've learnt all the lines.
Yeah,
I can understand why they weren't too happy about that. I don't know why I did it. Maybe it was an accent thing. Maybe he wanted a stronger accent.
Yeah, it was normally an authentically American accent, so we'll get the Brit in to do that.
That was a strange one, but I used to go down and dub them and do all the voiceovers for slow-mo at Pinewood in the dubbing studio. Yes, a great setup.
Funnily enough, I was back at L&M stage day before yesterday doing a recce for something, and it's amazing how kind of strong the nostalgic feel for it was. The station house, which was in M stage, I think, the interior where slow-mo was operated around and came out of his little hatch. I could picture it
as you go through the front gates and stuff, although it's changed beyond belief since we were last there.
The front of it, the block looks the same. It was very nostalgic indeed. Did you play the voice of Morgo as well for that? The funny alien with the big pink, because it was to me it sounded like
yes,
your
I did.
VLAN voice, right?
Yes,
and he had a really wobbly
that's right.
prosthetic animatronic head.
If he was really big and ugly, we kind of went for that deep kind of alien demon voice.
Yes.
Which, I did that one, and a few other little characters that would come up here and there. Just trying to remember other things we did. You've got my mind thinking back on all the characters I played, but there was certainly a fair few. Didn't they showed it on? It was being shown on BBC Two.
It was the first ever co-production, acquisition of Sky One and BBC Two. So it played it on Sky One 6 months ahead of BBC Two, I think.
I think that's right. And it was a funny time. It went on about 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
it was strange. It should have been on either a bit later or a bit earlier. It felt like it was.
Well, BBC Two then had that kind of cult slot, didn't they? For years they'd had Scarlet and Thunderbirds and stuff playing out in the Mount Runkle.
I think they had.
Yeah, exactly. All those things, and probably a bit of Star Trek: The Next Generation, and in that BBC Two cult slot. So, from your perspective, Gary, as you sort of started to see the episodes come together and that kind of thing, how did you feel about it? Because I know a lot of people on the show, it had all sorts of financial difficulties and was being pulled several different ways by broadcasters and American distributors and stuff. So it didn't quite find its feet.
No.
I always felt it should have gone a bit more Blade Runner, but, how did it feel from your perspective?
To be honest, I felt it felt very safe. And I wanted more danger in it. I wanted more intrepidation. And it just felt... and I know they were trying to make it conversational when Brogan would go home to speak to his wife and his kids and stuff. It needed a bit more Blade Runner. It needed a bit more danger with some of the some of the aliens, but it could have gone a bit further with it. I think I wanted a bit more awe-inspiring. I think there was a wrestling scene in one, and it needed to get out there. It just missed that, and that's. I hate to say that because working with your dad, it was always an honour. It just needed to go that one step further. How did you feel about it? Because
I loved it as a kid.
Because so much older than me,
I was 9, 10 when it was being made, and just hanging around seeing it all happening was amazing and really exciting. And I spent a lot of time sat between Christine Glanville, who did a lot of the sculpts and painting of the heads,
wonderful,
and operated Podley, and Richard Gregory, who built the animatronics and, of course, operated Slow-Mo. Or built and operated Slow-Mo. So your creator in some ways. So it was a very, very happy time. But I know Dad was very stressed out by the whole thing, and there were a lot of problems, a lot of things that didn't go to plan.
That's a shame. It deserved to be a big hit series. And I know that I remember going along to the opening of it. I think they showed an episode. I probably even met you actually at Pinewood, and there was a champagne and this, that, and the other, and I was behind the doors voicing Slow-Mo. So people would come and ask him a question, and I would then answer back to them. And,
nice.
And I remember getting the T-shirts, and we got the this, and we got that, and I've still got the Slow-Mo toys, and it's a shame. It didn't quite make it, but it did do. Did we do 4 series?
No, it was there were only 24 episodes.
Oh, right. I just saw them. I saw them in sets of like 7s or something like that. I don't know. So, right, okay. How many DVDs did they make of that? There was 8?
Oh, there were a ridiculous number of DVDs they released it on.
Yes.
Because now it's on one box set, but there were sort of 12 or something.
12, and I think they were putting 3 episodes on or 2 episodes on a DVD. Yes, good memories of working with your dad on that. He'd always be in the sidelines watching it be directed and stuff.
Keeping an eye.
Yeah, keeping an eye on everything. And as a child, rather like me going to watch Thunderbirds for the first time, I can see how that must have been so exciting for you. As you said, 9 years old. When I saw Thunderbirds in the cinema, I was 8.
There you go.
So it's the same kind of thing.
Intoxicating, isn't it?
Wonderful.
So you finished on Space Precinct, and now Dad did a few kind of TV ads and stuff like that along the way.
He did.
Did you do any ads and stuff with him?
Yes, I did a few ads. As I said, they used to have, when Channel 4, I don't know how long Channel 4 had been out, but they were doing adverts for different programs there, and they would base it on Captain Scarlet or Thunderbirds. I remember going in once and doing an advert for, what was I doing it for? For Kellogg's Cornflakes. Mm-hmm. And your dad was there, and the company, big wigs were there from Kellogg's, and I had to read this thing of get to buy, Kellogg's Cornflakes, buy this, and you get a free Thunderbirds toy in every Gerry Anderson's Thunderbirds toy, and the Gerry team was saying, can you stress Gerry Anderson's Thunderbird a bit stronger? And I mean, they go, yeah, okay, fine, and the Kellogg's people are saying, "Can you stress the Kellogg's cornflakes a bit stronger, please?" So this subtle read came out as Gerry Anderson's, in Kellogg's cornflakes, because they both wanted to push their names, and I understand that completely. It was a big thing. I don't know. Was that something that happened a lot when you were a child? There would be toys in cereal boxes. You don't see that at all now.
Yeah, I mean, they used to do it with Kellogg's Sugar Smacks back in the 60s and 70s, didn't they? You get a free Captain Scarlet toy.
That's right.
Or whatever. So it was definitely a thing. They're probably not allowed to do it now because of advertising regulations.
Probably not. I'm just wondering, as the Honey Monster, because I used to do the voiceover as well, the tag voice. I think we did have toys in Sugar Puffs, but
I'm sure I remember you doing an Anderson-related Sugar Puffs thing where there was a giveaway.
Yes. I probably on YouTube somewhere or other.
It may have been new Captain Scarlet toys or something, or maybe even it was Space Precinct. But yeah. I mean, you are the Honey Monster to me.
It was, I love playing that character, and lovely. I don't blame him really, but Jamie Oliver, I think he put something out there saying sugar and stuff like that. So Sugar Frosties, they're great. They suddenly became just Frosties, and Sugar Puffs became Honey Puffs, and then Monster Puffs. But they don't really advertise them anymore because of that reason. I don't know. Maybe they should have made them with Manuka honey and sold them in New Zealand or something. Made them healthier. I don't know. But I can see where they're coming from. So now they're just things that are on the shelf that you can decide if you want them. They sell well with university students who just sit there and eat them without milk. I don't know
there's
why.
A good tip if you're feeling hungry.
If you're feeling hungry.
Lovely. One more part of Gary Martin. I'm not telling you which part. You'll have to guess. But it's the third of three coming next week in Pod 175. Thank you, Gary, for more memories and career stories and all sorts of goodies. Hasn't he got a lovely voice?
Yeah, it's wonderful, isn't it? Listen to it all day.
Gorgeous. Yeah,
I know.
Very jealous.
Yeah. How do you find these people, James? Do you sort of get in touch via agents or Twitter or Facebook or just any way you can?
It depends. So producer Ben Page, who does a sterling job, will often go off and find people and say, "How about this person?" Or I'll suggest someone, and he'll go off and find them, or I'll drop him a line. I mean, Gary, we've worked with on a couple of things before. I'd recommended it for a Big Finish Doctor Who recently, and so we've been in touch. So
great.
It's all a bit random. Sometimes it's Twitter, sometimes it's email, sometimes it's in person.
Yeah,
and sometimes you bump into people in the street and ask them to do a podcast, and they say yes, and then they never do it.
Yeah, all right. Shall we move on? Yes, I was just going to remind our lovely listeners that the Randomiser is just around the corner with the wonderful Chris Dale, of course. But look, he's rubbing some sort of sun cream. Yes. Yes, I thought that looked a bit red there. You should have covered up, shouldn't you?
Ouchie.
Yes, that'll learn him. Danny Baxter. Now, here's something he wants to tell you, Jamie. He says on our Facebook group, "Tell Jamie I'm looking forward to Firestorm. And don't screw it up with bad audio and weak plots." Well.
Oh, well, we'll have to cancel the whole thing then, because bad audio and weak plots are exactly what I was after.
Exactly. Hugh Porter says, "Hi, Jamie and Richard. You need to ask Silver Screen Records to release a Stingray soundtrack, and also you need more discounts at the Gerry Anderson store."
More discounts?
Right.
Not sure we can do that. So Silver have already said they're doing all the Barry Gray soundtracks.
Great.
So we don't need to ask them. It'll be coming in due course. I don't know what the next one is, but it'll be out eventually.
And I do have to say that there are very often some rather nice discounts at the Gerry Anderson store and via your eBay page, and end of line stuff and spring sales and all sorts going on.
We try.
Yes, that's right, exactly. Morty Vicker says, "Tell Jamie he's ace and he's built a team of stars. He works tirelessly to keep the Anderson name not just there in the background, but in the ascendancy. We're all looking forward to great things, true to the original spirit, so dear to his father. Big thanks." And that's from Morty Vicker.
Ah.
Yeah, nice.
Thanks very much.
Nice to be appreciated, isn't it?
It is lovely, yeah. But yes, you're absolutely right. Lovely team. Including, obviously, you, Richard James, and the very sunburned Chris Dale there.
Yeah. Rob Doyle says, "I love the podcast. It's the highlight of my week. The Facebook group is one of the most welcoming and supportive bunch of people I've ever come across. I hope we can all meet up soon."
How about the 16th of April, when we can stand by for action?
Oh, no, he did it again.
For the Gerry Anderson concert. Nice. Did you get your tickets? I mean, did you pre-order tickets? I don't know. Did you?
Yeah. That was last week, wasn't it?
It was last week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I suppose I...
No, I've got yours, haven't I?
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, got yours sorted.
And finally, for now, Rebecca Andrews says, please tell Jamie that everyone at Anderson Entertainment is brilliant and you all work so hard to keep the legacy alive. We fans are so grateful that it is thriving today.
Oh, that's lovely.
Thriving. It absolutely is thriving.
Well, we do it so that everyone can have a nice time and enjoy these things and keep it all going. And so thank you for all being a part of that, because if you didn't all keep the enthusiasm going, there would be, well, nothing to do, really.
No, that's
so thanks.
True. That's true, yeah. There we are. So that's all for the Tell Jamie segment, which I quite enjoyed. We might do that again in a couple of weeks.
I feel okay about it because there were some nice things in there. So thanks.
Exactly.
Everyone. Yeah,
that's
lovely.
right. Yeah.
Good. So Richard James.
Yeah.
Chris Dale has now exhausted all of his After Sun supplies.
He has. Yes.
He's just knocked back a couple of paracetamol.
Oh.
So I assume that means he's almost ready for the randomizer this week.
Okay.
So despite him being sunburned and being in fact the same colour as the big red button on the randomizer,
I noticed that.
Chris is going to press that button, bring us a random Gerry Anderson episode from a random series and give us his hilarious and insightful commentary. So Chris, it's over to you.
Oh, I haven't slept so well in ages. Oh, hello there.
You appear to have recovered from the effects of the coma ray.
Oh, that's what it was. Subterranes, yes. Planet 4-6, eh? Yes, it's all coming back to me now. Where's Marina, by the way?
Your Earth woman is quite safe for the moment.
Oh, I see. Yes, threats against her life if I don't let you guys operate the randomizer today, eh?
Silence, Earthman.
Oh, okay.
You will have no choice. Switch on the machine. Good. A perfect strike. Supposing something should go wrong, nothing will. Unlike Earthmen, we do not make mistakes.
Yes, well, I don't want to be the one to bring you down at all, but were you aiming for a Protectors episode?
What shall we do? We have no choice. We shall watch it on our television screen.
Oh well, at least you're finishing what you've started. Most commendable.
There is no escape.
Well, here's Ceremony for the Dead. So, welcome back to...
Ready, Mr. Rule?
The Protectors.
When you are.
Season 1. The final episode of the first series to be produced, although I think it was aired 6th. We are at a foreign embassy in Malta, I believe, where Harry Rule is, he's got the arduous task of bringing in ladies to do a little twirl.
Well, Mr. Rule?
No, that one didn't pass inspection. We're looking for a particular kind of woman here.
Nice eyes.
Long dark hair. And the chap assisting Harry Rule with this task is none other than Stanley Lebor. I don't know, but he's a very familiar face in this period of British television and film production. Most famous for playing Howard in Ever-Decreasing Circles. If you've never seen Ever-Decreasing Circles, do please go and check that out immediately.
Sorry.
Because not only is it probably more interesting than this episode is going to be,
nice girls working in the embassy,
but he is also one of the finest sitcom actors of all time, I think. Howard is a gorgeous creation.
I would say that's exactly what you understand. We need
Here is Toby Robbins.
She does not look so much like me.
Well, that's not quite so important as the fact that she's ideal for the job.
Despite the fact that at this moment she's on holiday.
This is the lady that we're trying to find a double for now, but
3,000 miles in an afternoon.
none of the ladies that they've looked at so far are quite right for the role.
Our whole Air Force consists of 3 short-range bombers. Short range.
But Harry's got someone else in
The
mind.
position of your country means that the big powers are very anxious to be friendly. Why don't we just see how friendly?
Now, Toby Robbins, you Space 1999 fans will recognise as
Put me through 2 calls.
Diana Morris in the Bringers of Wonder 2-parter, but unfortunately there she was dubbed. So you won't recognise that voice if you're not familiar with this episode, but you will recognise the face. She was the the man-eater former flame of Koenig's. Anyway, we're now out at sea. Stock footage of an Air Force
US Air Force, bang on time.
jet overflying the area.
There it is.
Looks like a very cold day around Malta, and I do like this opening. The way we know who this is going to be because we know this show, but we don't say the name out loud. We haven't even seen the face on the photo, but someone has bailed out of that jet. We're now going to go over and pick them up. And that seemed to be a man being picked up in the boat, but now we're back with Robert Vaughan. It is, of course,
Harry, you better have a good reason for this.
the Contessa.
A very, very good reason.
And this episode, as I've said, takes place on Malta. There were a couple of episodes around this time that took place on Malta, and they reused a lot of the same settings and vehicles, and we're seeing one of them here, the Contessa's yacht, which is an absolutely beautiful craft. It, everyone's being served up champagne.
Right, Harry, just explain. Here you are on holiday on my yacht. There I was, lying on a beach, minding my own business.
This show makes being wealthy look like so much fun, which I know is kind of a theme through a lot of the ITC shows. But in this, because we're on location for real in this gorgeous boat, we can really see
Answer in just a moment when I introduce
how nice that lifestyle can look. And we brought Toby Robbins with us. I can't remember her character's name.
Oh, Caroline, this is Madame Rue.
Thank you.
The President's wife. You're a long way from home, madame.
Not with all, Contessa. I am staying at our embassy here for a reason. My husband is no longer young, Contessa. For the past year, he has been a very sick man.
I've seen the press reports.
His doctors...
Press report saying yes.
...treatment by...
Old man, quite sick.
So you brought him over here?
Not yet. Until suitable precautions have been made, I dare not.
You dare not?
Ooh.
There's a rumor around they're going to attempt to kidnap the president when he gets here.
Have you any idea who could be behind it?
Just they.
My husband has his share of enemies at home, Contessa. The danger is from both sides. The extreme left and the extreme right.
Madame Rue wants us to help get the president here safely.
So it's a mysterious, faceless, unseen, unknown they.
Holiday, I mean, couldn't you handle it yourself?
Well, I suppose I could, but somehow I don't think the airport press would think that I was Madame Rue when the president flies in tomorrow.
Aha. That's why we were interviewing ladies.
Dig?
Dig.
Doug. Yep. She's gonna swap places with Madame Rue. Now here we are at the airport where her husband is just arriving. I think. I haven't seen this episode in a very long time. I do actually have some reasonably good memories of the Malta-based episodes of The Protectors, at least the first season, despite me saying that my memory of the episodes of The Protectors that aren't set in the UK is quite fuzzy, but I do remember this one. Unfortunately, my abiding memory of this is watching this episode with a bag of chips. I sometimes used to do half days at school near the end, so I would get a bag of chips, bring them home on the bus, and I guess I watched this episode when I got in one day. So I don't have any chips today, unfortunately. That's a shame. I could have recreated those bygone days of yore. But anyway, the Contessa is now doubling for Madame Rue, looking reasonably credible there, I think. There's police vans and such around, as poor old Mr. President is unloaded from the plane. Doctors in attendance. Harry is watching from a distance. But who's this mysterious figure just arriving on a motorbike in an orange jumpsuit? It's just as the police van was leaving the airport, in come a load of guys on motorbikes, pumping out orange smoke all over the place. Oh dear, bit of a fight. Harry's been clobbered. They've stolen the police van with the Mr. President in the back, I think. I mean, we're only we're coming up on 10 minutes into this. I think I'm keeping track of it so far. It's not always easy with the Protectors. But yep, the police van has been snatched by our motorbike gang. now further up the road. 2 of the gang have peeled off, leaving just the driver. Ah. And who is this at the wheel? Who is the motorbike orange-clad fiend?
We're upright, Caroline.
Like a trip on a steel trampoline.
Aha.
Don't blame me. Blame Harry. He said to make it look good.
And that's not even the real president in the back of the van. That's a decoy.
For the move.
Oh, and here he is.
Most roadblocks for the ambulance. On an island this size, we shouldn't have too much trouble.
Oh! Do you know who that was? Do you know who that was? That was Charles Thake. Yes. Now, Charles Thake, very important figure in the Anderverse. He was, that guy. I can't remember the character's name. He was the villain in The Investigator. Yes. And he would have got that role off the back of his performance in this episode, which amounted to those 3 lines we just heard him say. So,
when you mentioned the threat of...
obviously, you know, he delivered those 3 lines so well that clearly the Andersons were going to have him back for The Investigator. Either that, or he was possibly the only English-speaking actor that the Andersons had any contact with while they were filming this. I suspect the latter.
One of us. To help in any way we can.
You are very considerate.
This was a decoy to distract the real kidnappers, put them off the idea if they think that the president has already been kidnapped or killed or whatever. And all seems to be going well so far. Harry's satisfied. Madame LaRue is satisfied. And Paul is now about to drive the hijacked ambulance, no, police van even, off a cliff. And it's a bit different from the old the white Jag going off the cliff in The Saint and the Baron and all the rest of it. We have an actual real police van that we're just chucking off this cliff for real. There it goes. Quite a spectacular and ambitious shot for a location unit. But what's this? An ambulance is being followed by a mysterious black car. Presumably this ambulance contains the president, for real. Oh, there's black cars on all sides. This is a real ambush. Oops. Oh. The nurse has pressed the panic button. Oh, ambulance driver was actually putting up a good fight there. He doored one of them in the face and kicked another one over before he got taken out himself. Oh, don't hurt the nurse. Who's this lady? I don't know.
Yes, sir?
Harry, what is it?
Our ambulance is in trouble.
You're near. Get down to the marina fast.
Oh, and here's the introduction, at least on the randomizer, of a fabulous new Protector's vehicle. I mean, I say that, it's not really. It's
The ambulance is in trouble.
this 4x4 go-kart thing. There's one in this episode, and there's one in another Malta episode, It Was All Over in Leipzig, which is a different colour, so it's not the same vehicle specifically, but it is the same model. And it's a lovely image that the Protectors just pile into and out of this 4x4 go-kart thing. I'm not sure what the name of the vehicle itself is, but it does look very cool. I call it the Protectomobile. But, you know, it's only in 2 episodes, I think, which is a shame, because I rather like seeing them ploughing their way across the country in this thing. It's speedy as well. As Contessa and Paul are in the Protectomobile, following the ambulance, which is now arriving at a marina. Not my marina, or our marina, I should say, but just a marina. Going to transfer the...
We've been called out on an emergency.
Oh, well, that's what he thinks of that. No emergency for you. We're going to put our kidnapped president on your boat and take him out to sea. Is that what's happening? No, the president was already on the boat. I'm losing track here. Right, so he's being transferred from the boat to the ambulance. Oh dear. Oh no. So many people that I don't know. So many extras. And they must be extras because none of them are saying anything. Are piling into the ambulance. Well, I'm at a loss to explain how the Protectors were already in contact with that ambulance before it even had the President's body in it, but regardless, the President's body is now in the ambulance. My earlier reporting that it was false, but now he's there for real. Everything might be okay. I don't know.
The embassy.
This way, please.
Come into the car. Okay.
Oh, dear. It's all gone a bit pear-shaped. And not just my
We were
commentary.
too late. They've got the president.
Who are they? I still don't know.
Is that the ambulance?
The emergency signal's still working.
Ah.
Let's go find them.
Good thing we knew they were going to hijack that ambulance specifically. But never mind, into the Protector-mobile. Oh, I love it. I love it as well that when there's three of them in there, Paul in this case gets to just sit very casually in the back seat. And here's a very dangerous shot as well. They park this thing right at the very edge of a cliff, and it's Vaughn driving. So if he'd if he'd hit the accelerator instead of the brake, that could be all three of the show stars plunging to their doom like the ambulance. It looks very high. They've followed, oh, not the ambulance, the police wagon, but they've now followed the ambulance to a castle of some kind.
They must be in the house.
President is a sick man. We don't know how sick. Can we risk a straight break-in?
Negative. Keep it under surveillance, Paul. They have to make contact sooner or later.
Right.
Oh, and here comes the ransom note.
Delivered by hand. I'm to go alone.
No mention of a ransom.
No.
It's risky.
Not much for
My
a
mind is
ransom.
made up. I do not know what their demands will be, but if I do not do what they ask, they will kill him. I must go to my husband.
Well, Harry and the Contessa seem to smell a rat here. As Madame Rue heads for the rendezvous, Paul is still there keeping an eye out. So Madame Rue's putting up quite the struggle as they take her up to the house. I'm still not sure who they are. Paul's very confused by the whole thing. But here comes the Protector-mobile. Naridon Porter nearly banged her head as...
Has she gone inside?
Yes.
Oh, God. And Vaughn nearly broke Tony Anholt's leg the way he parked that Protector-mobile. Oh, dear. So, we're now launching our assault on the house under the cover of late afternoon. Oh. Yep, luckily it's guarded by those guards who can be felled in one short karate chop to the back. I think Harry might have broken that guard's neck. I can't really tell because it looked like he was sort of kneeing him in the bottom. There's two guys out having a smoke. What are our heroes going to do to them? The old throw the rock over that way. Hey! Ooh. Here comes the third one. Oh! Oh, he wasn't prepared for return fire from Harry and Paul there. This third guy's like, oh no, don't shoot me, don't shoot me! Ooh. Took out one of the cars there. And that's it, our third man has been shot, and falls very slowly off the tower.
Oh.
And again, these must be local performers. We're not even letting any of these people make noises as they fall or die. But there goes a boat.
North Africa would be my guess, less than 5 hours away.
We'll need a fast boat to catch that.
At least 30 knots.
Does the Protector-mobile turn into a... Oh no.
It's okay, we got him on the radar.
Good, who are you? It's just a guy with a boat. But Harry and Paul and Stanley Lebor, who has had disappointingly not much to do during this episode, which is a shame. Anyway, this is the Mi Amigo, the boat that Harry has found to follow the boat with the kidnapped Monsieur President. And again, some nice location filming around the coast here, but it looks like another very cold day. Probably shot on the same day as the stuff that I said earlier was cold, in fact. But Harry and Paul's made, very good time in this boat. The three guys.
Giving two! They didn't have much choice.
They're giving up. And who's this body in a bag? Oh. Madame Rue was...
Yes, he's dead.
Oh.
How long ago? When did he die?
About an hour before I contacted you.
3 days ago.
Yes. You've been through it all for a dead man.
No, I think we've been through it for one very much alive woman.
Yes, alive to the possibility of taking over from your husband.
He had to buy time. You had to keep the president alive as far as the world was concerned until you could arrange to seize power.
A week would have been enough.
All right.
Replace the police chief and the army commander.
Okay.
And then an announcement that the president is dead, a state funeral, and by then you're too strong for anyone to challenge you.
I got a question. Why didn't you take him to the clinic? With your staff in attendance, your secret would have been safe.
Yes, with my staff in attendance.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We had our doctor. He was in the ambulance. It wouldn't have been fooled.
Good old our doctor.
You gave me the idea.
So, why, when she showed up at the baddie's house, were they so rough with getting her inside? Why did it need 3 of them to drag her in, kicking and screaming? I don't know, and I don't much care, and it's kind of an unsatisfactory way to end the episode, and it happens with some episodes of The Protectors where you don't really find out what's going on until like the last minute, like 30 seconds before the credits roll. Suddenly you get all this stuff dumped on you. So anyway, we're at the airport.
Oh, excuse me.
Harry, Contessa, and Guy, who just left.
Stick around for a while. I'm going to take...
We're going to have a drink together. I suspect that might be the unexplained guy with the boat.
I'll bet you would. Golden beaches, long cool
I mean, they could have asked Charles Thake for some help, but Charles... Oh, it's Signor Caranti, isn't it? That's who he plays in the Investigator.
Quiet little dinner under the stars.
Yes. You don't want to, a little Charles Thake goes a long way.
Waiter.
Oh, Caroline was arranging to go off with
You do well.
What?
boat guy anyway, I guess. So what can Harry do? He's got a spare drink,
Mr. Rule,
a spare ticket,
waiting for you.
Yeah, I won't be needing it now. I'm flying out soon.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
and a lady. She has legs. And a smile.
That chauffeur-driven car. I'll take it. What's your name?
Julie.
Julie.
Well, it doesn't matter anyway.
I'm kind of new on the island.
Uh-huh.
And I thought maybe you could show me around some of the sights.
Take me to some art galleries. A very good friend of mine recommended this painting to me. Anyway, that was The Protector's Ceremony for the Dead, and I kind of like that one. I like that it there's a lot of nice action pieces and stunt work, you know, with the scene at the airport and the hijacking and the van going off the cliff. There's some nice visuals in this episode. The story is okay, not very satisfactory in the end, but it did introduce us to, of course, Mr. Charles Thake and the one and only Protectormobile, always one of my favourites.
Well, direct from the avenues and alleyways there.
Yes, yes, that's
Protectors, meh.
Yep.
I mean, do you feel like it's a
What?
real Anderson show? I mean, not.
Funny, isn't it? Yeah, well, it obviously is, because it's in the randomizer.
It's not funny. That's the thing.
No, I see.
They try to be occasionally, I think, but it just doesn't.
But, you know, if Chris Dale says it's part of the Anderson universe, then
well,
part of the Anderson universe
because
it is.
It was produced by Gerry Anderson, so therefore it is. It just wasn't created by, that's the difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, Protectors, meh. Take it or leave it. Do you like the Protectors?
Yeah.
If so, do let us know why. And if you think there's a
subtle,
if you think there's an episode of the Protectors that will turn people on to the Protectors, then do let us know.
Right.
Email us podcast@gerryanderson.com, and maybe you might catalyse a whole new wave of Protectors fandom.
Yeah, maybe. Imagine that. Might have its own podcast this time next year. I mean, I doubt it. But it
okay.
might.
Yeah, I look
Yeah.
forward to listening
Yeah.
to that myself.
Yeah.
Right, well, that's the end of the randomiser. Chris will be back
Excellent.
next week. Hopefully, he will have
good.
recovered from his sunburn by then.
Yes, I would hope so.
Anything else you would like to add, Richard James, before we depart?
Yeah, I've just been looking at our YouTube channel,
have you?
actually, where, our various podcasts and Fab Facts are posted every week. The last pod that I've been reading was pod 172 a couple of weeks ago. Cool Guy 5058 says, after watching Meekshi, I can't unhear their voices as the characters. Lovely, yes. Have you watched Meekshi at home? The subject of pods 170 to 172, I think, and Jamie's 3-part interview there with Justin and Lindsay Lee.
4-part.
Was it 4? Crikey.
Yeah.
Yes, when you say that, Ian Dealey posted great 4-part interview with Justin and Lindsay. I've watched all 10 episodes of Meekshi, and I must say it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Lovely
Nice to have a good episode of Space 1999, Year 2 on the Randomiser. Yeah. Tom Senior posted such a fun episode, and a surprise for me at the end. Wow, I have those 2 books mentioned by Jamie. Why doesn't anything eat wasps? And why don't penguins' feet freeze?
Yes.
He says the answers are fascinating. Along with dozens of similar questions, the answers are provided by professional academics from the associated fields of science. One effective use of a penguin's feet answer was suggested by survivalist Ray Mears. He says, wear wet socks when trying to get warm in a sleeping bag. It works.
Ooh, it doesn't
Thank
sound
you
very
guys
nice,
for a
though,
grand
does it?
show. No, it doesn't. Thoroughly enjoyable, he says. No, but do let us know if you want to give that a go, and let us know how you get on. Disney Daniel says, in Stingray, who says arming warships on missiles?
I do not know.
Quite understand.
That'll be one for the randomizer.
Yes, okay. And finally, we were talking about spin-offs, I think, in a recent Quickfire 5. And Howard Key suggests First Action Beaker. Managing to reference one of the very latest Anderson Entertainment productions and one of the very first there from Supercar.
Yeah,
Nicely
nice
done.
work.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's great. So yes, do comment on our YouTube channel as well. I know there's quite a few people who strangely listen to our podcast via the YouTube channel, but that's fine.
We forgive you.
You know, yeah, if it's easy for you, that's fine. And I'll read them out next time.
Brilliant. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
So that feels very much like the end of Pod 174 to me.
It does, doesn't it?
It's a very natural rest.
It does. You're
Rather
right.
lovely.
Yeah.
So I guess that leaves us nothing other to remind you to make sure that you've sent in your screenshot
Yes,
of the review
of course.
that you left between the 1st and the 7th of
Yes.
October. If you left it slightly after, then I'll let you off. But
right.
email them in to podcast@gerryanderson.com. And I guess next week I will pick some winners and send you some
Great.
goodies for contributing to the reviews. We really appreciate it. But do make sure that you've subscribed and rated and reviewed and all that good stuff. And we will be back for pod 175.
Crikey.
Whew. Next week. I can't believe we're only 25 away from 200.
Woo.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Wow.
Maybe that'll line up though for next year. For the
Wouldn't that be
concert.
lovely?
We'll have to work it out. We'll get on the maths after the credits. Okay.
Oh, okay, great. Well, you can do that. I'll sit and watch.
Yeah, all right, fine. I look forward to it. Right, have a great week, Posterons. Thank you for letting us be in your ears, and we'll see you inside those ears, weirdly, next week. Goodbye.
Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Stage 1 complete.
Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
Right, I'm serious about working this out, by the way.
Okay, go on then. Off you go. 25 pods to go as
hang
of
on.
next
That was
week.
173, 174.
we've got to get to pod 200. That's 25 weeks, isn't it? 25 weeks.
7, 9,
how many months is that? That's sort of like
2,
4,
3,
that's
4,
5
5,
months.
6,
So we're
7,
talking
8,
sort of,
9, 90, 1,
October,
2, 3,
November,
4,
December,
5,
January,
6,
February,
7,
March. We're
8,
only close.
9. Oh, it's the 4th of April.
Oh, really?
So we'll
just
be
a couple of weeks out.
Recording pod 202 around the time of the concert.
Well,
so
we can hold back our festivities until then, can't we?
Oh, I suppose.
That's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Unless we take a couple of weeks off in the meantime.
Oh, I think we might get in trouble if we do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Or we'll name it Pod 191A, Pod 191B.
Good idea.
And then we'll hit 200 at the right time.
That would be great. Let's do that.
Okay.
I like that.
Good. Oh, that would have been so glorious if it had all lined up. It just doesn't.
Yes. We should have thought of that, shouldn't we? When we started the podcast, we should have just held back a couple of weeks.
We should have known that all those years later we would be doing a concert in Birmingham on the 16th of April, 2022.
That's right. Exactly.
Oh, well. Next time. Never mind.
Yeah. Next time we launch a podcast, we'll bear that in mind.
Okay. Right. Okay, well, I'll go and slap myself on the wrist for getting that wrong. I'm sure you're going to do the same.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
Have a great afternoon, evening, whatever you're up to.
Thanks. And you.
Bye.
Bye.
You have been listening to the Gerry Anderson Podcast. Wasn't it fun?
You have been listening to an Anderson Entertainment production.